Hello all. Today we shall see one more very important concepts of the object-oriented programming. That is constructors and destructors. Let's see what is meant by a constructor. A constructor is a special member function whose task is to initialize the objects of its class. A constructor is a special member function. So it should be a member function, a special member function. There is a rule to declare that as a member function. What is the responsibility of that member function? Its responsibility is to initialize the object whenever it is declared. So far, we have seen when we create an object, we need a special function to read the contents to the object. So at the time of initialization, the objects won't get any value. But we need to call a separate function at the time of initialization of the object. But constructor, the moment you declare a constructor, automatically the value will be read. That is what is called. The value will be initialized. So it is special because the name of the function is same as the name of the class. This is one important point which everybody should remember. Whenever you define a constructor, the name of the constructor, the name of the function must be the name of the class itself. That's a rule. For example, it is mentioned here integer, class integer. Now I am declaring a constructor here. How? Integer. I cannot call any function other than integer. Integer, if you call integer function inside a class called integer, it is going to be a constructor. Okay, as it is mentioned in the comment, constructor declared. So the condition is the name of the function should be the name of the class. The constructor is invoked whenever an object of its associated class is created. So that means, suppose if I create an object in the main program, for example, say integer as A. So A is going to be an object of class integer. At the same time, its member functions will be initialized to its initial value. So in this case, the member functions will initialize the values to be 0 and 0. So the moment an object of type integer is declared, it will have the value 0 and 0. So important points to remember here is a constructor can be defined with the name of the class. The function should be defined with the name of the class. Okay. So this is a total gist of this particular slide. Wherein, see, example is very clear here. I'm defining a class called integer. What are the member elements? Data elements. M and N are the two member elements. Under public, and it should be public. It should be declared as a public. Under public, I'm defining a function called integer, the name of the class. Integer, with the void. So there should not be any parameters because I'm not passing any argument from the main program. So this is how I'm declaring. See, there is no return type. That's why I don't mention any return type. So integer means the name of the class. Scope resolution operator integer is a function name, void with the members. M is equal to 0, N is equal to 0. So that means, suppose in my future programming environment, if I declare A as an object of integer, by default A.M becomes 0, A.N becomes 0 because they are the constructors. So this is very important point to note. So now, what are the special characteristics of constructors? The special characteristics of constructors include: one, the function should be declared under the public section. You cannot define a constructor in a private section. Function should be declared in the public section. Second characteristic is the moment an object is created, automatically the constructor function is invoked. There is no separate invoking of the function name as we have seen in the previous examples. A dot read, a dot display, like this. There is no question of invoking the function name. The moment we declare an object of that type, it will be automatically invoked. Third characteristic is there is no return type. So your function when you declare, as I mentioned over here, see, just look at this point. There is no return type, neither integer nor void, so nothing. So they cannot return any values. Then another concept is they cannot be inherited. So objects which are declared under constructors cannot be inherited. So through any derived classes. So though derived classes can call the base class constructor, but they cannot be inherited. Then like other function, C++ functions, they can have default arguments. So you can have default arguments also. So constructors cannot be virtual. So that should be real. So we cannot refer to their addresses. So another point which we normally observe is passing by parameters, passing by value, passing by address. So constructors cannot be passed through addresses. So they cannot refer to any addresses. So an object with a constructor or a destructor is to destroy the elements, cannot be used as a member function of union. So that's not currently needed. Now they make implicit calls to the operators new and delete when memory allocations is required. So these are the special characteristics. Now let us work out with a problem to explain the concept of constructors as well as destructors. Now the example is so mentioned. Write an object oriented program in C++ to create a library information system containing the following book for library. So you need to enter the following details by using constructors as well as destructors. So now what are the contents? What are the data elements? Data elements include accession number, name of the author's name, title of the book, in which year the book is published, the name of the publishers, cost of the book. So there are 6 data members. What are the members? Accession number, author's name, title of the book, year of publication, publisher's name, cost of the book. These are the 6 different data members. Now let us define a class with the data members and suitable member functions for initializing and for destroying the data via constructors as well as destructors. Let's do that. So now I am calling a class called library. I'm calling a class called library with the following data members. What are the following data members? Accession number, it's of integer type. Then year of publication, integer type. Then cost of the book, price, which are integer type. So here I am declaring data members, accession number, price and year of publication as integer. Then author, title and name of the publisher as string elements. So be clear about these separations. What are they? I am calling a constructor with the I'm calling a class with the name library, and I'm including these 3 as integer data members, accession number, price and year of publication. Then string, the 3 strings put together, there are 6 data members, author, title and publisher as characters. Now under the public section I'm calling the 3 functions. What are the 3 functions? First is put data for the display. See, there is no question of get data because The moment an object is created, it will get the value. So put data, I'm calling library as per the definition of a constructor. What is the definition? Constructor should have the name which is same as a class name. So you can observe here library, and this is what is called a destructor. Please remember, a tilde character before the constructor stands for destructor. A tilde character before the constructor stands for destructor. What is the meaning of a destructor? Destructor will remove all the values which are initialized at the time of creating an object. So constructor will automatically load the value at the time of initialization, but destructor will remove all those values. So the problem, whatever I'm going to explain now, the program, whatever we are going to write, will clearly indicate the importance of a constructor as well as importance of a destructor. Let us go to this. As I've already mentioned, I'm declaring a class called library, wherein I'm taking three data members as integer, accession number, price, and year of publication, and at the same time, character. What are the character? Author, title, and publisher. So 3 plus 3, 6 data elements are entered. Now under public, I'm calling put data to display. I'm calling a constructor. I'm calling a destructor. So what is a destructor? I'm just sending a message stating that object is destroyed. There is no elements whichever are created at the time of constructor. So everything is destroyed. So there is a proof for that also. I'll do that. So destructor is a function with the tilde name of the class, wherein I'm just displaying a message that the object is destroyed. So everything is removed now. Now let us go to the constructor. How do I define a constructor here? So library tilde library. So I'm calling library tilde library as a constructor. So library tilde library. So the rule for constructor is satisfied here. What is the rule for constructor? The function name should be equivalent to the name of the class. So what I'm doing here, I am reading the values for accession number, author, title, publisher, year of publication, and price. So here I am reading it. So how? Through constructor I am reading it. Now here, as I mentioned, put data. I am displaying the data. So accession number as accession number, author as author, title as title, publisher as publisher, year of publishing as YOP, price as price. So these are all the values which I am reading through constructor. So what is the difference? Let me go to the next program and explain you. See, in the main program, so just look at here. Nowhere I have used read data. Just look at here. Nowhere I have used read data. In earlier programs, to accept the value, I used to run a function called get data or read data. But here I am not using. I am simply using library space L. What does it mean? L is a constructor. The moment L is created, automatically this function will execute. I'll get a message. Enter the accession number, author, title, publisher, year of publishing, and price. So I need to enter when the moment I create an object of L of type library. But what I've done is here I've used it in the loop. So there is a reason why I need these things in a loop. So simply I can say library space L. So the moment I do that, what happens is it will read the value, then L dot put data. It will display the value, no problem. But I need to know the destructor concept also. So I need to know the destructor concept also. So for which I will be using a loop here, right? I'll be using a loop wherein I'm reading the number of terms, enter the number of books, n. So I'll be I'll be using a for loop for I is equal to 0, I less than n, I plus plus. So I will just say enter the book details of 1. So library L. Okay, library L. So when I do so, L gets this particular function to execute. L get this particular function to execute. Then once this is executed, what will happen? I will put data, L dot put data. So here library L dot put data. So the details will be displayed, and afterwards automatically, before going to next second book, so it will be destroyed. That contents will be destroyed. So once again I'll say first book library L. So it will read the first content, first book, right? So next, when I go to next, I becomes 1. Suppose if I say N is 3, so now I becomes 0. Enter the detail of book 0 plus 1, that is first book, library L. So it will go to execute this function. I will be entering the details of the first book. The moment I enter the details of the book becomes L dot put data. So L dot put data will execute this. Once it is executed, before going to next one, automatically destructor will work. Destructor will work. So that function will be destructed. So then it will go to second. So now I becomes 1. So now enter the details of the book 1 plus 1 2. Library L. So already that previous content of L is destroyed by using a destructor. So now it will read the second function. So second, it will initialize second time, not function, initialize second time, wherein you will be reading the details of the second book. Then you will be displaying the second book contents through L dot put data. Now I becomes second, I becomes 1, now I becomes 2. So now enter the details of the book 2 plus 1 3. Same thing will happen. The L is already destroyed. Once again through constructor the new value will be read to the L. Then you get the details of this particular books whatever you have recently added. So thus the entire program will run. So maybe this is number of books are 2. First book's details you have read. Once it is executed, see object is destroyed. Automatically object is destroyed. How come? Because you are using destructor and you are defining the destructor. So ultimately, once this goes out of the loop, once this goes out of the loop, so for the new value, so before a new constructor is initialized, so destructor function will execute. So then you will get object is destroyed here also. If it is 2 books or if it is 3 books, whatever is, so many books contents will be read and object gets destroyed. So many contents will be read, it will be displayed, object gets destroyed. So this way the constructor and destructor functions work. So very important property of the object oriented programming. Using constructors we can initialize the details, but using destructors we can destroy the details. So with that, goodbye.